The rain fell in heavy sheets across Lagos, turning the bustling streets into rivers of red mud. Amara Okonkwo sat in the back of her Mercedes, watching the windshield wipers fight against the downpour. She had just closed a deal worth millions, another property added to her vast empire. At 45, she was one of the wealthiest women in West Africa, yet tonight, something felt hollow. "Madam, there is traffic ahead," her driver Emeka announced. Amara barely heard him. Her eyes had caught something that made her heart stop. A young girl, no more than 20, huddled beneath a torn plastic sheet by the roadside. In her arms, she clutched 3 tiny babies, wrapped in what looked like old newspapers and a single faded wrapper. The girl's eyes were closed against the rain, her lips moving in what seemed like a prayer. "Stop the car," Amara commanded. "Madam." Emeka turned, confused. "I said stop!" Against Emeka's protests, Amara grabbed an umbrella and stepped into the storm. Her expensive heels sank into the mud as she approached the girl. Up close, she could see the babies, identical triplets, their tiny faces peaceful despite the chaos around them. "My sister," Amara said gently in Igbo. "What are you doing here with these children?" The girl's eyes flew open, revealing exhaustion so deep it seemed carved into her bones. "Please, Ma," she whispered. "I'm not begging for myself. My babies, they have not eaten since yesterday. Just a little money for milk." Amara crouched down, ruining her designer suit. "What is your name?" "Chioma, Ma." "And the babies?" "Chinedu, Chimamanda, and Chukwudi. They are 3 months old today." A tear slipped down Chioma's cheek. 3 months ago, my husband died in a motorcycle accident. His family said I brought bad luck, that I killed him by giving birth to 3 mouths to feed instead of 1 son. They threw me out with nothing. Amara's chest tightened. She knew this story too well, different details, but the same cruelty that her own mother had faced decades ago. "Come with me," Amara said, not as a request, but as a decision already made. Chioma shook her head. "Ma, I cannot. I have nothing to offer you. I cannot work in your house. Who will mind my children?" "I'm not offering you work," Amara said firmly. "I'm offering you shelter. Tonight. Then we will see about tomorrow." In her mansion that evening, Amara watched Chioma bathe the triplets in warm water, perhaps the first warm bath they'd ever had. The babies cooed and splashed, and something in their laughter cracked open a door in Amara's heart that she'd kept locked for 20 years. After the children were fed and sleeping, Amara sat with Chioma over hot pepper soup. "You remind me of someone," Amara said softly. "My mother. She was also thrown out by my father's family when she gave birth to me, a girl. They said she was cursed for not producing a male heir. She begged on the streets of this same city with me on her back." Chioma's eyes widened. "You, Ma? But you are wealthy now." "Yes, but I remember the hunger. I remember the rain." Amara's voice cracked. "My mother died when I was 10, pneumonia from too many nights in the cold. A missionary family took me in, educated me. I built everything from nothing, telling myself I would never be helpless again. But I built walls too, around my heart. I never married, never had children. I told myself it was because I was too busy, but the truth is, I was afraid." "Afraid of what, Ma?" "Of needing anyone, of being vulnerable, of loving someone who might be taken away." Amara looked at the sleeping babies. "But seeing you tonight, seeing your babies, I realized I've been living only half a life. I've been so focused on never being that desperate girl again, that I forgot what my mother was really fighting for. She wasn't fighting for survival alone. She was fighting for love. For me." Tears streamed down both women's faces. "Chioma," Amara said, taking the young woman's hand. "I cannot replace what you've lost, but I can help you build something new. Tomorrow, we will get you registered in nursing school. You said you always wanted to be a nurse. I will pay for everything. You and your children will live here until you can stand on your own feet. And these 3 beautiful babies, with your permission, I would like to be their grandmother." Chioma wept openly now. "Ma, why? Why would you do this for us?" Amara smiled through her tears. "Because someone should have done it for my mother. Because those babies deserve the same chance I was given. And because," she paused, her voice breaking, "because I have been so lonely in this big house, so empty despite all my money. You have shown me that wealth is not in what you keep, but in what you give. You, with nothing, refuse to abandon your children. I, with everything, had abandoned the very idea of family. 3 years later, Chioma graduated as a nurse, top of her class. The triplets, now 3 years old, called Amara Grandma Ama, and filled her mansion with the laughter it had never known. Amara had funded Chioma's small clinic in the very neighborhood where they'd first met, offering free care to the women and children who reminded them of who they'd once been. On the anniversary of that rainy night, Amara and Chioma returned to that street corner with food and supplies for others still fighting the same battle. "You saved us, Ma," Chioma said, watching the children play. Amara shook her head, pulling the young woman close. "No, my daughter, you saved me. You reminded me that the greatest wealth is not what we accumulate, but who we become when we share it. You and those 3 miracles taught me that it's never too late to build a family, and that sometimes the ancestors send us exactly who we need, disguised as who needs us." As the sun set over Lagos, casting golden light over the city that had witnessed both their darkest hours and their greatest joys, Amara understood the truth. In saving Chioma, she had finally saved herself. Asterisk. An African proverb says, "It takes a village to raise a child." But sometimes it takes a child to raise a village from its slumber, to remind it what truly matters when the rains come and the night is dark. Asterisk.